Well, here comes the fun part. It's time to take out the toilet. I'm really not looking forward to this, but here we go. So what's involved here is I need to turn off the water at the wall, which you can't see because this is a small bathroom. And you can't see my beautiful face and that at the same time. So, sorry. Anyways, there's a water shut-off valve to the left of the toilet. It's always behind the toilet somewhere. And you just turn that knob to the right. Lucky for me, the knob is broken off on mine, so I have to use a pair of pliers. So we'll eventually be replacing that valve as well. But first things first, shut off the water, flush the toilet. I've already done that. And what that does is it drains as much water out of the toilet as possible. So once those two things are done, there are some bolts underneath that hold the tank to the toilet bowl itself. And then there are also two bolts that hold the toilet bowl to the floor. They usually have a little cap covering up the bolt like this. Just grab a screwdriver, pop that cap off, and then mine takes a 7/16 box wrench to loosen those nuts. So we'll reposition, zoom in so that you can see a little bit more of what's going on. Alright, so take the lid off because I don't want that falling out while I move the toilet tank. And you can see there is still a little bit of water there in the tank, but you know, not enough to spill out of the tank. I have a small bucket underneath the water supply line to catch the water that would invariably spill. And yeah, so we're just gonna undo this. I also have a rag handy because, you know, working with plumbing, you're gonna have a mess. Sorry if you were expecting more, I kind of was. So from here, I'm going to loosen this butterfly nut. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I've got two butterfly nuts off of the posts that hold the tank in place, and from here just lift the tank up off of the bowl, and now I'm going to go deposit this. So this is the secret weapon. It is Liquilox, and it basically turns the remaining water in the bowl into a gel. So that way when you loosen the toilet bowl from the floor, you don't have to worry about water splashing all over the place. So I'm just going to pour the entire contents of this bag into the toilet. The directions say it takes about 4 minutes to turn it into a gel. And after that we'll come back, we'll take the toilet off and go from there. Alright, so here we are. It's been about 4 minutes and the remaining water has set up into a gel. You can tell that if I just bump the toilet, you don't see any splashing, so that's awesome. 7/16 wrench, just break that nut right there free. This thing was not tightened down very much, so I'm really glad we never had any leaks. And then just loosen this guy up. Remove the washers. They didn't even caulk around the bottom of the toilet, so there's no, you know, seal there to break. So from here, I'll just pick up from the back and front of the toilet and move it out of the way. Just like that. Alrighty. Okay, so at this point I'm just going to stick an old rag down in the toilet flange to keep any debris from falling down there, and also to keep any noxious fumes from coming up from the septic tank. Alright, so the tile has now been installed throughout the bathroom and it's time to install the toilet. So instead of going with a wax seal, I decided to pick up the Better Than Wax. It's a silicone seal that Fluid Masters make, and read good things about it, so we're going to give it a shot. Alright, so here's the stack of shims and flanges. We've got the black shim, and then we have two seals to make up our seal for the toilet here. The reason we have to use 3 of these is because my floor height from the top of the floor to the seal, right down there, the PVC, is a touch over 3/4 of an inch. And per Fluid Master's directions, when you get over 3/4 of an inch, you need to add another glue shim. There's all kinds of debris that this rag caught. Glad it was there. And I'm just going to wipe all that off, because I don't want anything getting in between this rubber, and the PVC. That's kind of smelly. Alright, so I want the 2 bolts to be in line so that if you were to draw a line, they'd be parallel with the back wall. Alright, that looks good. Now it's time to bring in the toilet. That's where we're at. So we've got the washer and the nut on here. And what I'm going to do is just push down on the back of the toilet to go ahead and tighten this up, so that way I'm not putting all the pressure on just the porcelain in that one spot. Here, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, and there's a little bit of a shimmy right now. So I bought some wedges, and wherever there's a gap in the floor, I'm going to put one of these under the toilet. Once I figure out how far underneath the toilet this shim needs to go, then I'll trim it. And what that'll help to do is it'll help to even out the load on those nuts and bolts, and not put so much stress on the porcelain right there at the nuts and bolts, but it'll also help to keep the toilet from wobbling. Okay, the last step for this toilet installation is to caulk the bottom of the toilet to the floor. As you can see, I've used something other than just regular white silicone caulk. I've actually used a product by Polyblend. It's their sanded ceramic tile grout. And the difference is that this caulk has grout mixed into the silicone. So it's a silicone-based caulk, has grout mixed in. Great. What does that mean? It means that over the seasons, as things expand and contract, you're not going to get cracking around the base of your toilet where you've sealed it. This product comes in a handful of different colors. It comes in sanded and non-sanded varieties. Well, that wraps up this project. If you've got any questions, something I missed along the way, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks a lot.